Welcome to this channel, Nessa Sunshine. I'm Nessa, and today we are getting into a holiday glam, whether it be for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, whatever it may be for. You can follow this for the season, the cozier months, the months where we wear like red and cranberry, and we eat I don't eat cranberry, but that doesn't matter. Well, anyway, if you want to see how to get this eye and lip look, it's just the eye and lip. I start with like a full base. Well, subscribe to my channel and let's get into the tutorial. I'm going to go into the shade A2 and my Nabla N206 Gem Brush. I'm swiping this in swiper motions with the flat part of the brush onto the crease, mobile part of my lid, mostly on the outer corner, mobile part of the lid, just to start getting some color. I'm going to take more of the powder. I've taken it in there quite a few times. I'm going to tap off the excess, and I'm just going to build this. See how I'm getting more color here? I'm going to build this in this outer edge, and then I'm going to take the tip. Instead of the flat part, I'm taking the tip of this into the crease, above the crease area of my eyelid, and bringing it forward a little bit, not adding any more color than I already have on my brush. Blending back and forth above the crease area of my eyelid. And this gives a nice mauve-y, like transition color. Blend, blend, blend though. Make sure you blend, and then do the same thing to the other side. The first time, by the way, I just took this in very lightly, like a couple times, and then I put it on the lid. And then the second time I went in, I tapped it really into the powder, like, I don't know, several times. And then I tapped it off a little bit, and then I placed it. So then I was able to get some color, just so you, if you really want to follow this like to the T, there you go. Now it's time to do it to the other side. By the way, I also applied a little bit more pressure. I didn't do such light pressure. Sometimes I do lighter pressure with the brush, sometimes do a little bit more pressure. So I just added a little bit more pressure when I used the tip part of this. I added more pressure. It was light pressure when I first pat it, and then I used more pressure when I used the tip to blend across. I'm gonna go into the very pretty shade down below, C2, and I'm gonna take two Nabla brushes. This is the N203 brush and the N302 brush. The reason why I'm going to go in with two is because I'm going to build with this tiny little brush, and then I'm going to blend with this bigger brush. So I did roll this brush into the shadow to pick up a lot of color. I kind of tapped it too and rolled it and then tapped off the excess. And then what I'm going to do is get it into this crease corner area over here in this outer part of my eyelid. Now, I used to do videos on here a lot, and my eyelids had not changed yet. I think I was in my late 20s. I am now in my early 30s, and my eyelids are no longer the same. Very similar, but slightly different, and it's a little bit patchy for me here on this right eye, so it is hard for me to apply. So I try my best to work in that area that way. It's a little different than before. It was a little easier before, but now it's not. But that's just part of life. So anyway, it's a time to blend. So I'm looking down into my mirror, and I'm using kind of like circular motions, patting motions with just the tip of the brush. Just going like this, like the tip of the brush, little pats, tip of the brush, blending, patting, blending. I hope that like side profile of the brush and the finger help. So I'm just going back and forth, blending, tip of the brush, blending. And I'm bringing it down into this outer corner a little bit too. And I'm just, I'm twirling my little tiny brush all the way around. Now I'm going to take the other brush, the fluffier brush, it's clean, and I'm going to use circular motions, big sweeping circular motions. And I was using a good amount of pressure before with the tiny brush to apply, and I'm using a good amount of pressure with this brush to use. I'm using the tip as well, by the way, and to blend, I'm using the side and the tip. I'm blending very like loosely with the tip. I'm blending all with the tip and the side of the brush. So I'm just using all the angles for this. So I'm loosely, meaning like big circular motions, blending. I'm taking the tiny little brush and I'm rolling it back into the C2 shadow, and I'm just going to apply a little bit more onto the lash line. And these are light motions, tapping. I'm rolling it too, rolling it around so I get like that even roll of shadow. And I'm tapping it onto the lash line from the outer corner down into the lash line. And then I'm taking the big fluffy brush using swiper motions this time and the edge of the fluffy brush. And I'm moving toward the middle, kind of where we have that shade. And I really like that. I mean, you could add more if you want, if it's your preference. You can get a little bit more bold and you know, extra glam this holiday season, but I'm gonna leave it there. I think we'll see. After I apply the shadow, sometimes I'll add a little bit more. It just depends on what it looks like. I'm going to do the same thing with the two brushes and the shadow, C2 on the other side, and then we'll get into shimmer time, which I'm so excited about. I went back and forth to just blend, make sure everything's even. If you want to take a close look at your shadow, if you're following along, and just blend till you feel like, you know, this looks blend. How else can we put it? Okay, so now it's time for shimmer time. Now it's time to get into a B2, and I'm going to take my handy dandy ring finger. I'm going to just tap this into the shimmer shade. Some shimmers I like to swipe, some shimmers I like to pat. The shimmers are a little bit more crumbly, but they are so pretty. So I don't want to swipe too much, so I'd rather just tap a little bit. So with the ring finger, I'm tapping it onto the middle part of the eyelid. And I'm going to tap it a little bit out toward where we've blent all that. But I don't want to tap it over too much. I'm just going to focus it on the middle part of the mobile eyelid and a little bit above. And then tap just a little bit over here. And then now I'm going to swipe in toward the inner part of the lid. Swipe. Swipe in toward the inner part of the lid. And then I'm going to use my pinky to blend above that area. So my pinky is helping me out. And I'm blending. And now I'm going to swipe on the mobile part of the eyelid just to get the rest of the shimmer. And then I think what I'm going to do is... Well, I'm going to do the same thing to the other side and then we'll get into the next step. Okie dokie. So to continue shimmer time, I'm going to get into the Nabla. I believe this is the Nabla N201 brush. The last number is slightly smudged here. And I'll take the shade B1 from the palette. It looks blue, but it has like a very white, almost highlight look to it. So I'm just applying this to the inner corner and I'm taking it in to the palette multiple times to get this really pretty, shiny look. And I move it up with the tip of this little tiny pointed brush up a little bit. And I'm just going to take a little bit more. I just keep going back into the palette, pressing. I press into that corner. Press. And then I move up a little bit. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Now we're going to get into the deeper shade in this palette, the C3 shade. And I'm going to take this L30 Laura Lee brush, take it from the outer corner base of my lashes, and I'm going to pat it in toward the eyelid. And I'm going to switch sides because I have more of it on there. And I'm just going to tap because I want this to be defined, my lash line. And I'm just tapping, and this is such a thin, flat brush that I get like a loose liner. I'm going to add a little bit more toward the closest. I'm trying to get really close to the lash line, so I'm really looking down, really deep down here into my mirror so that my eyelid is really smooth. And I am like pressing and pushing kind of gently into the lash line with the very flat tip of the brush. I use this side of the brush, but then I also use this and then like the very like edge of the brush. N203 brush and C2. I just rolled it in just a little bit. And I'm just going to tap this onto the lid just for some added smokiness to transition. So I'm attempting to add, I'm going to add a little bit more. Yeah, I'm just attempting to smoke this out a little bit and connect it a little bit more with what we have going on over here. You don't have to add the liner or the multiple shadow if you like it just a little bit more subtle, if you want it just a little bit less than this. But this is fun for the holidays, for a party, whatever. Yeah. Oh, do the same thing to the other side, and then we'll get into the next step. Did the same thing to the other side. I'm going to add a little bit of a wash of A2 and the Nabla N209 brush. I'm just going to blend this all over the lower lash line. This can completely be skipped if you feel like there's a lot going on the top. But you can do this if you feel like there's not enough going on the bottom. Of course, you can skip any of these steps. Like, you don't have to make it as intense. You don't have to add the liner. You can just add the first couple shades. You don't have to add the inner corner. You can kind of, you know, work with this to make it suit you if you want to follow along. Because you can just pop on your mascara or lashes to this and it will be a look, like whichever, you know, amount of shadow you want to go. If you want to go all the way with all the shadows, then we're having a full-on party on our lids. But if you don't, you don't have to. Now I'm going to go into the Dose of Colors liner to tightline. Mascara will be the YSL Mascara. Just any black mascara will work. These are the Cash lashes. I've used them before and I'm going to use them again. Okay, so to pop on my lashes, I am looking down into my mirror. I already have my glue. I use the Duo Glue. And I am going to focus on the center first. Bring the inner corner in and the outer corner. Okie dokie, the eyes are complete. It is now time for the lip. So I'm going to get into the Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the lip liner in the shade Malt. So I'm going to line my lips, overline just a bit on the bottom and then on the top. And then I'm going to use my handy dandy ring finger and blend it all out. And now I am ready for my Broadway debut. I'm just kidding. This is the lip I'm getting to, and I want to talk about it just a little tiny bit. This is the Elevate Beauty Gloss Lip Edit in the shade Cherry Pie. This is a brand new shade. They just came out with reds, and I love it because inside of the box there is a scripture reference, John 15:5. So it's right here on the inside. So let's read John 15:5 before we put on our gloss. But Jesus says, "I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit, for apart from me you can do nothing." That is such a good encouragement, reminder, exhortation that we must remain in the Lord, remain in his word. And yeah, and now let's try the lip gloss. Cherry Pie. I don't know what it's called, but I have one gloss from Elevate and I love that gloss. It's so nice. Yeah, this is really pretty. So before I dip, like double dip, because I have like this like dark cherry lip liner, I'm going to wipe this off so it doesn't get back in there. This is a really pretty shade. So adding just a little bit more. And this is doing exactly what I was hoping for with the lip liner. It's looking really nice. And yeah, this is doing exactly what I want. And I'm just adding this gloss over this lip liner. Because the lip is lacking a little bit of pink, I'm going to mix a little bit of this pink shimmer. I'm just pressing twice. Hopefully it will be okay. I might put some gloss over it. But I'm going to mix a little bit of the pink into the lipstick or the lip combo. So I'm mixing just a little bit of that pink shimmer in the center. I'm going to tap a little bit more of that pink in the center, like that. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of the gloss. And that lightens up the center kind of how I want. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of the liner on the bottom here. And that completes the look. I hope you enjoyed this holiday glam using the Sugar Palette from ABH. If you want to, if you already have the Cosmos palette, you can probably use the similar shades in there and get a very similar look because they're very close. They are different. Each shade, I like swatch them all together and they are very close. They are also different. So the blue, especially the deeper shade, it's so pretty. It's very unique. It's like a blue purple like duochrome. So I hope you enjoyed this holiday glam, super glam. Wow, we really did something super glamorous. I'm a little nervous about going out with this makeup, but because I usually don't do this much like eyeshadow anymore. I used to just do it all the time and I just stopped. So we'll see what happens. One thing I would say is like you, if you did want to follow this, maybe just do the first couple steps and then put on your mascara and then you'll have like a little bit of a softer glam. But yeah, this is more of a, to me, more of an intense glam. So that's it for today. I'll see you next time. Bye now.